What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the PikaPikaPaPa, and it's officially on. The Sword and Shield era is going crazy, right? Booster boxes are going nuts. Singles cards prices are going through the roof. Alt arts are so hot you can't even hold them in the palm of your hand. And, every single month we look at the overall price change for the top 20 cards and the booster boxes from different eras. On Wednesday, we did the Sword and Shield view, and as we all expected, the prices were absolutely crazy. The month-over-month changes have been insane. And it's a very exciting time to be a part of this hobby, right? I think all of us agree that Sword and Shield era as a whole is going to be a very, very special era for the future and for the long run. I also think that the alt arts are absolute fire, and I think that they have a great long-term opportunity to do very, very well. And I also think with trainer galleries, there's just a bunch of things about the Sword and Shield era that I think gives it the opportunity to be one of the strongest eras in recent memory. Now, whenever a market starts to get frenzied like this, whenever the market starts to get a little bit crazy, I'm the type of person who, yes, I like taking part of it. Yes, I like to get excited as well. But I also like to take a giant step back, right? Like, I love to look at how previous sets or previous eras, when they've gone through a period similar to this, have performed. Were they able to hold on to the gains? Did they lose some of the gains? Like, what could I possibly expect? Because, hey, it is hard for me not to go out there and spend all of my money on Pokemon cards and sealed products right now, because I do think that we are at the very beginning of what might be a long run up and to the right. But what I want to understand is what happens after that run, and that is what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to look at a similar set from last era to get an idea of what happened when that booster box saw incredible growth, what happened to the singles in that, and to give me some idea of, hey, listen, lessons from the past, apply them to the present to give us some idea what might happen in the future. I say that all the time, and that has always served me very well in my card collecting life. Now, here we have Fusion Strike, Chilling Reign, and Evolving Skies, and listen, Evolving Skies has been sold out for a long, long time, but the price has been going nuts. Fusion Strike flips to sold out, price goes crazy. Chilling Reign, the exact same thing. And the other thing that I wanted to call out is it's not just booster boxes, right? We're starting to see a fast follow in the singles card market as well. So these alt arts, the big chase card alt arts, are going absolutely crazy too. You got the Gengar there, which is going nuts. You got the Ray from Evolving Skies. Now, I didn't include the Moonbreon simply because the Moonbreon is the big chase card of this whole era. So that card is just going to do what it's going to do. Like, there is no real comparisons to it, at least in the Sword and Shield block. And then I pulled up the Blaziken, right? Like, Astral Radiance flipped to sold out, and now it's back in stock on the Pokemon Center. But you see what happened when it did flip to sold out. Look at how that price absolutely spiked. Now, I know there's a lot of talk about buyouts, and maybe these are all buyouts, but I'm going to tell you, there's going to be a lot of people out there buying out a whole lot of product if every single one of these price spikes are being driven by buyouts. I think a lot of people are really excited for the Sword and Shield era and these alt arts, and I think a lot of people think that this could be the very last opportunity to get these cards at even semi-approachable prices. So, hey, listen, before we dive into that similar set and the similar prices to give us some idea of what to expect way down the road, I just wanted to say, if you enjoy content like this, if you love these kinds of data dives, we do fun stuff like this all the time, so hit that subscribe button. If you have questions or comments, drop them down below, and as always, if you like what you see, give us a big ol' thumbs up. So with that being said, this is the set that I wanted to compare it to, and it's Cosmic Eclipse, because I think when you think of the Sun and Moon era, Cosmic Eclipse is a wildly popular set, right? I think the cards up there, when you look at the top 20 most expensive single cards in the Sun and Moon era, like 5 of them come from Cosmic Eclipse all in of its own. So I thought this was a good comparison. I didn't want to do Team Up. Team Up, again, is kind of in its own league. It was short printed. Booster boxes are going for $2,000. But Cosmic Eclipse went through this crazy period where really for almost all of 2022, it was relatively flat. It went from about $500 to about $550 over that 12-month span, right? And then in 2023, it started in January 2023, all the way to December of 2023, the booster boxes went from $544 all the way up to $867, right? It almost went up 60% over the course of a year. That is just absolute crazy growth for a single product like this in the course of a year. Now, as you know, this is the 27-month data. We warehouse this on the channel. We use this for a whole bunch of data dives, and I love having this because I talk about the advantages, right? Like, you think about TCG Player. TCG Player gives you 1 year worth of data. Here on the channel, we have 27 months of data and growing, so I absolutely love that I can share this with you all. So my thought process was this, is okay, listen, Cosmic Eclipse booster boxes had a really strong run for a year, and then look what happened. January, February, March, all the way into April, the booster boxes flattened out. It's actually down just a couple dollars over that same time frame. So my thought process was, this is going to be a really cool comparison, an awesome booster box that saw a crazy price appreciation with some really cool singles cards in it, and then it flattened out there at the very end. So what about the singles cards? Now that we've looked at the booster boxes, what did the singles cards do? Did they go through the roof? Were they able to hold on to any of their games? Did they crash back down to earth? Let's take a look right now. Now we're going to start off with the Rosa card. So Rosa was the most expensive single in Cosmic Eclipse, and you will see that, just like with the booster box, starting in January of 2023, this card really started to go up in prices. Now, this price right here is for PSA 10s. I think that's a great indication of the overall, kind of investability in the hobby and what people are going after, so it's really cool to see these PSA 10 prices climb here. So you'll see in January of 2023, a PSA 10 of this Rosa card was going to set you back about $285. Then in July, it peaked at $650. Now again, think about this. This is like halfway into that crazy booster box price appreciation. This card hit an all-time high at $650. Then it started to come back down. Now remember, even though the booster box was still going up, it was still halfway through that 60% year-over-year gain. Even though the booster box was still giving great returns month after month after month all the way through December, in July this peaked at $650, and by December of 2023 it was back down to $349. Now that is nothing to shake a fist at. That's still a 22% gain, but remember, that's assuming that you bought in January of 2023 and you sold in December of 2023. What if you didn't buy exactly in January? What if you waited a little bit? What if you waited and bought it on the way up, right? Then you would have missed some of those downsides of buying at $285. So depending on where you bought, I mean, you could have been flat. You could even be a little bit down on this card despite the fact that the booster box is still up, again, almost 60%. And now these cards are selling for even less. Now it's about $310. The last one sold on eBay on 4/11. I looked at it for $327. So again, think about it. Even though over the last 3 months, the Cosmic Eclipse booster box has retained maybe down $1 or $2, but has essentially retained all of its growth over that 1-year hike, the singles cards have continued to come down just a little bit, which was a big takeaway for me when I'm thinking about how crazy the market is for all of these alt arts. Now, the next one right here I wanted to talk about is the second most expensive card, right? The Arceus, the Palkia, the Dialga right here. This card is absolute fire. I'll be honest with you, the artwork isn't for me, but obviously it's for a lot of people because the price is absolutely nutsy cuckoo. Okay, so then again, let's look at January 2023, right when the booster box for Cosmic Eclipse started to go absolutely crazy. This card in a PSA 10 was going for $350, and then in May/June, this thing peaked at $900. Look at that spike. That is absolutely crazy. Obviously, that was one really high sale at $900, but you have multiple sales over $800. So then in December, it came back down, right? So from that peak of $900 in May or June, it came back down to December price of $500. But still, think about it. If you bought it in January of 2023 and you held it till December of 2023, even though you had this crazy spike and then some regression, you are still up 42.8%. Now, they're going for about $450 now, so there's a little bit of a price regression there. The last one actually sold on eBay for $575, but the 3 previous ones sold for $450. So we'll have to see if that $575 sale, is a start of a new price growth, or if it's just kind of an anomaly and the 3 ones previous to that are more of what the market is going for. But again, look at where the price is on this one, okay? So if you look at the green graph on the right-hand side of the spike, you'll see that it is still way up compared to where it was in like August of 2022 or November of 2022. Now, when we looked at the Rosa, it was up compared to those, 2022 numbers, but not nearly as much. So this card had a higher spike, and it seems to have, at least up until this point, retained some more of the growth that we saw versus the Rosa card. Now, in the next card right here, we're looking at the third most expensive one, Lily's Full Force. Now, Lily was in full force for all of Sun and Moon. She has some incredible cards in that set, and this one is no exception. Again, we're starting in January of 2023, right when the booster box price started spiking. This one was at $159 in a PSA 10 case. Then you'll see, again, it seems like these cards really spiked in June, July, May, June, July of that year was when these cards hit their all-time high. And this one went for about $700. 2 different sales at that $700 mark, which again, that is a ton of money for a non-number 1 chase card in a set. But still, it sold for $700. Then in December of 2023, it was down to $300, but look at this. It is still up in December of 2023, 88.7% versus where it started in January of 2023 at $159. Now, I don't know if you've noticed this, but the number 1 card was up 22%. The number 2 card was up 48%. The number 3 card is up 88.7%. And guess what? The last 2 auctions on eBay, even though it's come down, are still at $220, which is still a pretty good price growth over that January 2023 price. So look at the green graph all the way on the right. again, it is up versus the July, August, September 2022 numbers. So at least it seems like the chase cards get the biggest bump, but then the ones in number 2 slot, number 3 slot, I can go ahead and start looking even deeper at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 if you guys want. Let me know in the comments down below. But at least the further down we got down the line, they seem to hold on more of the gains versus the big chase card. Now, I do want to say all of this. Listen. We looked at one set. Which is Cosmic Eclipse. This is not statistically relevant at all. I am not saying that the Sword and Shield era sets are going to follow the exact same pattern. I just do think it was interesting that a set like Cosmic Eclipse, which saw the booster box price go as crazy as it did, saw the singles card prices go as crazy as they did, but then we saw the singles card prices come down even though the booster box price continued to go up. I talk about this all the time. I collect singles cards. It is fun for me to buy singles cards. That is my personal collection side of things, and I have a couple small investments in there as well. But what I really invest is buy and hold sealed product. And this video at least gave me a lot of confidence in doing that. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about too when we're talking about the possible, challenges to singles card prices over the long run in the Sword and Shield era is look at these card populations here. Okay, so I have the Blaziken, the Rayquaza, the Gengar, right? Those are all from Chilling Reign, Evolving Skies, and Fusion Strike. Look at the PSA 10 population of those cards, 2,600, 6,700, 5,100, right? And then when you get into the Sun and Moon sets, all of them are sub 1,000. Actually, all of them are sub 900 overall population. So these are far more exclusive, far more rarer, yet they still came down quite a bit in price after that big spike. And then you look at the gem rates too. So on the far right, you have the gem rates. Gem rates for the Sword and Shield era are much higher than the Sun and Moon era. So there are some opportunities for even more of these Sword and Shield era chase cards to come into the population while the price is still in the middle of spiking. So hey, all of this is very interesting for us to talk about, but we would have to do some more data dives to find out if this was statistically relevant. I am never going to tell you what to do. I'm never going to tell you what not to do. My only job in this whole YouTube space is to present you with data and just make sure that you have as many tools in your tool belt as you can when you're spending your hard-earned Poké dollars. So hey, listen, if you made it to the end and you enjoyed this content, hit that subscribe button. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. If there's anything you want me to dive into, drop it in the comments down below or just go ahead and say hi. I always appreciate hearing from you. You all have an epic one, and I can't wait to talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye.